I don't know, I kind of winged it. I'm not gonna lie, like at my asking price. So he texted me, "What's your asking price?" And I shot a number. I was like, 225. He says, "I think I can make that work."
Well, Kesaia, it's awesome to have you on this interview. Excited to talk to you. You're actually from my old stomping grounds there in the Phoenix, Arizona market, down in
really?
Stanton. I mean, I was in Mesa, but close enough. That's awesome. So you've got someone who's doing nationwide marketing. Is that what's happening? And then he's
exactly. Yep.
Okay. And then you're having to get a lead in wherever, figure out value, make an offer, and try to lock up a contract.
Yep.
The lead could be from anywhere.
Exactly.
There's some challenges there because there's nuances in markets, so you got to try to decipher very quickly what values are. You'll think you've got a deal, you'll think you comped it right and everything, and then you'll send it out to buyers and you'll find out that there's all these things you weren't aware of or didn't know or didn't understand about the market. And then,
okay.
So that's just one of the challenges with nationwide versus when you really hone in on a market and you learn that market and you become a market expert, then there's so much about deals where you'll now do deals that most other people maybe couldn't recognize it's a deal, or you'll instantly know that area. You'll have buyers where they pay a little bit more over there, that kind of thing. So, So I'm a big proponent of becoming a market expert. Pick one market, master it, learn it well, and dominate it. Maybe once you've dialed things in, I don't have a problem if you expand to another market. A lot of people do that, but you'll find that just kind of everywhere and anywhere it can be very challenging.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, talking to different people from everywhere, it's kind of, you get different cultures and stuff, but I mean, it's good to get used to it. I just like the knowledge that I'm gaining from just talking to people,
Yeah, if you can make it work, I mean, just being on the phone, talking to sellers and locking up deals, a huge experience. That's an awesome, awesome for your resume, awesome for your experience. What's your goal with the business? Is it to stay there for a while, go out on your own, or what's your hoping to do?
I don't know. For now, I mean, we kind of worked out something where I would just be here for a little bit just to kind of help him and then help me in the way where it's like a mentorship kind of thing. And then eventually he's going to help me kind of build out my own stuff.
Great.
Because he has the systems and processes and all that. So yeah, I'm just kind of helping. It's like a trade kind of thing. So
yeah, good. And so tell us a little bit about your journey so far. You got started about 6 months ago or so?
For some reason, I was real nervous talking on the phone. I couldn't really take action, really. I would do a few calls here and there, and then I'd get real nervous. So it kind of a couple months probably that was on and off, because I still have a 9-to-5 job that I was still working. Anyways, I was doing that on and off, and then finally I just told myself it's not going to work if I don't, right? So I started talking to everybody at my job. I started kind of networking and stuff, and that's actually how I got my first deal at my 9-to-5 job. So yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Because you are sharing and telling people what you're doing at your 9-to-5 job, because you're trying to side hustle real estate, which is how most of us all start. You're talking to people at work, and then someone at work says, "Hey, I got a property I'm looking to sell."
Yeah, exactly. He actually came to me. He's like, "Didn't you get your license and everything?" I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And then he told me that he was going through a breakup with his girlfriend, and she was being difficult or something. And he was like, "I just want to get rid of it." And I was like, that's kind of a motivated person in a way. And I was just asking him. I was telling him we could either go, the listing route, or if you're really just want to get it off your hands, there's also a cash offer. And he really liked that idea. He's like, I just want to get it off, start a new journey and everything. So he was like, just tell me what your offer is and stuff. And so that's kind of how the conversation started out there.
And so was this there in Santan area, Arizona?
It's in Gilbert, Arizona.
Oh, Gilbert. Okay.
Yeah.
Then what'd you do? You took a look and gave him an offer, cash offer?
Yeah. So wanted to do a consultation type thing. So I went over to the home to kind of see the condition and stuff, and kind of give him his options. And so It was in pretty good condition. All it needed really was paint. That's actually what my buyers did. They listed it right away. They just did carpet paint. But yeah, I just needed little stuff. And I told them like the comps in the area, like this is what the higher ends were gonna sell, and just kind of my idea of a cash offer. And so I told them we could for cash. I gave him my number, and at first it was a little low for him. So I offered initially, I think it was 191, I think. Yeah, like 191. And it was comping, like ARV was probably like 310 to 320.
Mm-hmm.
And I was first offering that, and then he was like, maybe I'll have to like kind of see. And then I just asked him a quick question, like, so obviously, so I knew what his mortgage was. So I know what you owe. What's the, what do you want to walk away with? That's what I asked him. And then he kind of, well, I have a couple credit cards. I want to get off my feet, like, get into a rental or something. So maybe, and he gave me a number, it was 22,000 he wanted to walk away with. And so, and obviously it has to be split though between the girlfriend and him.
Because they bought the house together.
Yeah, they both were on title. So in my head, times two. So it was at 44. So 44 over the mortgage was kind of what I was shooting for.
Yeah.
So that was, and he had to talk to his ex. And so he talked to her, and she said a number that was crazy. I think it was like 45 or something. Like she wanted to walk away with.
What did you end up settling at with them?
So we agreed on, so 191 was initial. The ex wanted 220 minimum. And I told him the most we could do, and we can close really quick, cash, is 205.5.
Okay.
And he was like, for him, it sounded great. Anything sounded good to him. He was like, I'm ready. It's just, we need to get her on board so she can sign. He talked to her, I guess, and I don't know, something happened. They got in a fight or something. I don't know. They came to an agreement finally or something, and then she was able to sign at 205.5. And then
she finally came around to 205. She ended up getting the contract at 205.5.
Yeah.
Now I just want to point out something you did there, which is very effective when we're wholesaling, especially when we know if the seller has debt on the property. Yeah. Which is, hey, what is it that you'd like to walk away with from this property in your pocket? If I could get you cash in your pocket in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 30 days, what would that number look like? Cash in your pocket. And that's talking to somebody from a completely different perspective, because at the end of the day, that's what matters most, not what the price is, but what they walk away with. Yeah. So a lot of times when we're talking to sellers, that's the kind of the way we want to talk to them. We want to say, this is the number you'll walk out a closing with. Mm-hmm. And that's a very powerful way to get to the bottom of where someone's at. So I like that. Yeah, that's great. Okay. So you get the contract at 205.5, and then, and on that contract, how long of a closing did you put?
I put 30 days, and then I put on or before 30 days.
Okay. So on or before 30 days. And then you get the contract, they sign, and then what'd you do to find your buyer?
So I remember this from one of your videos, but I looked at the neighborhood to see recently flipped homes.
Yeah.
And then I found someone, it was like literally a couple streets down. He just flipped it and sold it like 2 months ago or something. So I'm licensed, so I can see like who sold it and stuff. And then so I shoot him a text, and he responded right away. He was like, "Oh, what do you got?" And so I already had pictures and a Dropbox. He asked me right away what was my asking price, and for me, running numbers, I was still kind of new to everything. So I was like, because I got at 205, I was thinking they would only buy it for like 210 or 215. I don't know. I kind of winged it. I'm not gonna lie, like at my asking price. So he texted me, "What's your asking price?" And I just shot a number. I was like 225, and then he says, "I think I can make that work. Let me send my guy out there for like to see it." And so I went with the guy to the property, and he came to me. He's like, "Can you do 220?" And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, should I just take it? Like 220, like that's crazy. And so I was just like, let me see, let me go run my numbers real quick, like back, and then I can get back to you. And then he was like, okay, 222, done deal. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. And then it just
Yeah, they wanted it. They were just fishing to see what else they could get out of it. They had to pay 225 as well, by the way.
Yeah, I figured that's a learning lesson. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So guys, if you're listening to this, what Kesaia is talking about here, I've coined it now like the neighborhood flipper technique, but basically what you're doing is once you get a contract on your property, your ideal buyer is going to be a flipper that's recently or actively flipping in the same neighborhood. So what you do is you go back online and you can do this in my software PropWire. You can even do it on like Redfin and Zillow, but you're going to look for renovated homes that have recently sold in the same area or are actively for sale in the same area. Or you can look at the lowest sold homes that have recently sold, because those are probably flippers that are right now renovating it to sell later. Any of that type of way of finding flippers is very effective because it's going to tell you here's action and activity going on in the neighborhood. And the reason why that's so powerful is because flippers love to do deals in the same markets they're already doing deals, right? Because they know the neighborhood. They've got contractors, they've got a team, they got an agent, they know the values. So they just love to be able to do that. I'm the same way. When I flip, I love doing deals where I've already done deals. Yeah. So by reaching out to them, and then you can also do what Kesaia did, which is research out what they did. So now you're looking at their behavior. What did they pay? What did they do to the house? How long did it take them? You can reverse engineer a little bit, figure out how much they made. I like to do this all the time. I like to reverse engineer what flippers are doing and say, okay, I see what they bought it for. I see what kind of state it was in. I see how long it took them. I can guesstimate like what they spent on it. I see what they sold it for, how long it took them to sell it, and I can back in about how much they made. And so all that information is super helpful. When you take them your deal, you kind of know what to offer them, which is exactly what you did. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And you ended up getting like, what was that? Like a $17,000.
Yeah, 16.5. Yeah.
16.5. Yeah. On your first deal.
First
Fantastic.
Deal, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So cool. And what I love about this is we tend to think that, and I see this misinformation out there a lot, which is you can't wholesale until you first have a cash buyer list. How many of you have heard that? Raise your hand if you've heard that. Don't wholesale unless you get a cash buyer list first. Put your energy in a list first, then go find deals for those buyers. Nothing wrong with that. Like that's not like that's bad. That works. Where I don't agree with that model or that strategy is between the two, finding a deal or finding a buyer. The hardest of the two is finding a deal, because if you get a good deal, there's buyers for it, and you're the perfect example of that. Like there's a buyer in the neighborhood. So what I do is I want to build my list as I go, but I want to start acquisitions as soon as possible, and I want to start really putting a machine in place where every day we're getting leads, every day we're making offers. And then as I get contracts, I'm going to also be trying to build a buyer list, but I'm going to build it as I go instead of build it first, then start making offers on acquisitions. Does that make sense? Everybody see the logic behind that? It's just to me, again, it's not right or wrong. It's just, I think it's a smarter way to utilize your time is to build the list as you go. Get a deal, find a buyer. It only takes one buyer. And you're an example. It only took that one flipper in the neighborhood that wanted your deal. That's all it took.
Yeah.
So now as you're going, keep building that list, because there's nothing more powerful than a big cash buyer list. I mean, that's the most. A lot of times in the business, and I think this is a good strategy, a lot of new wholesalers, they'll JV with another wholesaler on dispo. Because that other wholesaler has buyers. So it's just, hey, it's just easier for me to take my deals to another wholesaler and split my fee with them. Nothing wrong with that. But honestly, man, if you utilize that neighborhood flipper model, you might be able to find a buyer pretty quickly, like in your case, and not need the JV and keep the whole assignment fee. You know what I mean? Like it works that well. My experience has been, if I talk to about 10 or 12 flippers in the neighborhood that are flipping in the neighborhood, and when I say in the neighborhood, ideally like the neighborhood, If you can find them close by and you talk to 10, 12 of them, one of them's going to want your deal, assuming you've got a good deal, but one of them's going to want it. But guys, I typically will go, I won't, skip trace and call the investor, the flipper directly. I'll go through the agent for two reasons. One, the agent's really easy to find because they're right there online. They listed the house. And two, if that agent's buyer or the agent's flipper, if they're not interested, that agent might know other investors too. And I used to offer to pay the agent a referral fee, but I stopped doing that a while ago, and I haven't had to do that in a long time. As long as you position it correctly, which is, hey, if your buyer buys my property, it's another property that he'll fix up and flip, and you'll get another listing. And they typically see that, like they know that. So and they bringing value to their buyer. They're like, hey, buyer, I've got a deal in the same neighborhood of the last one you did. Take a look. And that just solidifies their agent relationship with the flipper. It makes them look good. So, and they get another listing. So I haven't had much resistance from agents wanting to take my deal to their investors. Okay, well, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing your deal. What would be one thing that you could share with everybody listening that maybe is your biggest piece of advice to somebody working on their first deal?
I mean, the biggest for me was just taking action. I don't know if that's a big hurdle people like to, and it's hard to get over, but if you just stay consistent and discipline yourself to do it every single day. And for me, it was just like an hour a day, at least, right? But the consistency that it builds, like you're going to get a deal if you keep doing it every single day. And if you just take that action, I think that's the most important part. Just taking the action and being consistent, and then, success is not far from there.
Yeah. What does that look like for you? When you say consistency, what's your consistency look like? Like what's your
so for me, because I still work a 9 to 5. So as soon as I have like a schedule planned out, it's actually written right by me, but right after work, I'll get home, I'll eat, shower, and then I straight on the laptop. And I time block for me 2 to 3 hours of just straight calling. And I tell my wife that, like, just straight 2 to 3 hours. Like, I got to call, and then I got to do this Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday, I like to spend time with my wife. But, I still, if the business never shuts off. So if I have something, obviously, but
challenging part, the part that everyone struggles with, is the consistency and building a team, building a business model around it. That's where everybody seems to struggle. But when I see people that are actually consistent, where they've got a routine, it's every single day, they put things in place where they're getting leads, they're on the phones, they're making appointments, they're putting offers out, and they just do it day in and day out.
Right.
Very quickly, within a month, 2 months, they're doing deals.
Oh yeah. Easily.
If you're not, it's probably most cases, it's a lack of consistency. That's the problem. Nothing else. Just the consistency.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy what consistency and discipline will get you in the business, that's kind of what I go by. Just stay disciplined, stay consistent, and success isn't far from you.
But anyway, that was awesome. Good for you guys. Leave a comment, say, Kesaia, you're a flipping genius. Because that's pretty cool. Your first deal makes 16. Yeah. That's awesome.